It being 5 p.m., the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of November 9, 2021 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, can you please conduct roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Adams. Mr. Grove. Mr. Melvin. Mr. Wendell. Mr. Araby. Chairman Oten.
Here.
Mrs. Shessel. Mr. Lorraine. President Shessel.
Thank you very much, Ms. Carleen. If everyone would please rise for the invocation, be led by Councilman Grove, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Wendell.
Okay, first I'd like to have a moment of silence for Veterans Day, which is coming up on November 11th. To remember all veterans, certain guys serving now and ladies serving now, all past and present. Keep them safe and healthy. And let's recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. We'd also like to remind anyone wishing to address the council, you can fill out a blue form at the doorway where you walked in and get it up to the council clerk. We'll be sure to recognize you during public wishing to address the council. In addition to that, as we go through ordinances, we'll ask for public input if you so choose to discuss a particular topic with respect to an ordinance. Once we get to resolutions, it's only going to be the council that will be discussing. With that said, I will now entertain a motion for approval of minutes. Motion to accept minutes of October 26, 2021 regular session. So moved by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Adams. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item B, Lafourche Parish Outstanding Citizen. We have none, Ms. Carleen. Item C, state and or federal legislative updates. Do we have any legislators in the office wishing to make a statement? I know we have Mr. Fred from Congressman Steve Scalise's office. Thank you for coming. My understanding you're not looking to make any statement tonight, but thank you for being here. Yeah, I know, does the Attorney General want to say anything? All right, good deal. Thank you all for being present. We appreciate that. With that said, we'll go on to item D, proclamations. Item 2, Parish President Archie Chesson to present a proclamation proclaiming November 2021 as National Epilepsy Awareness Month. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I get too far, we're going to add one more for nurse practitioners as well after we do the homecoming king and queen tonight, if you let me. But so, whereas epilepsy is a neurological condition that from time to time produces brief disturbances in the normal electrical functions of the brain and is characterized by recurrent unprovoked seizures, and whereas 1 out of 26 people have epilepsy in this country, and whereas it is estimated that 200,000 new cases of epilepsy are diagnosed each year in this country, primarily among young people. And whereas it is estimated the number of people with epilepsy causes among the elderly are increasing each year. Whereas each person with epilepsy, I might get it right sooner or later, has the same basic human right to be accepted in society without discrimination due to negative stigmas regarding epilepsy. And whereas medical advances have been made to assist many persons with epilepsy in achieving seizure control and normal function. And whereas the Epilepsy Alliance of Louisiana is promoting greater awareness of first aid resources to seizures caused by epilepsy through its hashtag Stay Safe Side campaign, and encouraging the public to become educated regarding the appropriate measures to care for someone having a seizure. Now therefore, I, Archie Chesson III, Parish President of Foosh, do hereby proclaim November 2020 as Epilepsy Awareness Month, and witness thereof do hereinto set forth my signature and cause to be affixed the official seal of Lafourche Parish this 9th day of November 2021.
At your pleasure, Mr. President.
So the executive session is just to discuss, there was a settlement that was done by our insurance.
I'm gonna do it from down here because it's easier. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas Symphony Brown, the daughter of Cedric and Stacy Brown, is a resident of Thibodeau in the parish of Lafourche, and whereas Ms. Symphony Brown is a senior nursing major serving as a student body vice president and a member of the Delta Zeta sorority, Panhellenic Association, Lady Legacy Leaders, and Nichols Association of Student Nurses. And whereas throughout her years at Nichols, she has found joy in serving her student body in the community, achieving academic excellence through her studies, and cheering on her beloved colonels. And whereas on October 30th, Symphony Brown was crowned the Nichols State University Homecoming Queen of 2021. Now therefore, I, Archie Chesson, Parish President of Foosh, do hereby offer sincere congratulations to Ms. Symphony Brown on her achievements and wish her the best in her future endeavors. And once again, congratulations, Symphony. We'll still read it.
Yeah.
Bring it to you.
Okay.
Can I take a picture? So I just, for the record, Mr. Chairman, I told Mr. Jones, since this is his granddaughter, that we weren't doing any of this stuff, but he twisted my arm and we had to do it anyway.
Yes. Bright young lady. And you're welcome to say anything on behalf of Nichols if you like while you're standing at the podium. Just state your name and address for the record.
Symphony Brown, 1200 A Drive. I just want to thank y'all again for letting me come and for this beautiful plaque. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. I really do love Nichols, and this opportunity and honor to be homecoming queen was just the icing on the cake. My king is at baseball practice right now, so he just wants to say thank you to you guys as well. He was honored to be king, and he thanks y'all for this and for the support that you guys have given all of us at Nichols. So we just want to say thank you, and special thank you to my grandpa, Jerry Jones. Much love for you, and I think my parents are watching, so hey, y'all. So thank y'all so much again. I appreciate it.
Great. Enjoy your reign. You got any comments, JJ?
I'm proud of my granddaughter.
We all are.
As of many of them. You did an excellent job, and keep it up. What I always say, in the morning when I call you, put your feet on the floor.
Yes.
And
At
what?
6 a.m., y'all.
Act like you
And act like you own it. Thank y'all
Good
so
deal.
much.
Thank you.
All right. So next up, Mr. Lucas Hatch, son of Todd and Heidi Hatch from Berwick, Louisiana. Lucas is a senior pursuing a degree in health sciences with a pre-professional concentration and a minor in biology. He's been an active member of the Nichols State University baseball team throughout his 4 years at Nichols. He's an active member of the Allied Health Club, Biology Society, and Kappa Omicron Nu. Did I get that right? National Honor Society. And after graduation, he plans to attend physical therapy school where he will receive his doctorate of physical therapy. And whereas on October 30th, Lucas Hatch was crowned the Nichols State University Homecoming Queen. Now, therefore, I, Archie Chesson, Parish President of Foosh, do hereby offer sincere congratulations to Mr. Lucas on his achievements and wish him the best in his future endeavors.
Very good.
All right, one more, Mr. Chairman. Whereas nurse practitioners serve as trusted healthcare providers for the patients of our state, and whereas nurse practitioners are at the forefront of efforts to combat COVID-19, educating patients about prevention and ensuring equitable distribution of vaccines, and whereas nurse practitioners work to expand the access to care for underserved communities, end health disparities, and combat systematic racism in healthcare, and whereas patients depend on more than 325 licensed nurse practitioners in the United States to diagnose, manage, and treat their chronic and acute healthcare conditions. And whereas NPs provide a high-quality primary, acute, and specialty healthcare services while emphasizing health promotion, disease prevention, health education, counseling, guiding patients to make smarter health and lifestyle choices every day. And whereas the confidence that patients have in NP-delivered healthcare is evident by the more than 1 billion visits made annually to NPs across the country. And whereas more than 5 decades of research confirms the high-quality care provided by NPs. And whereas better utilization of NPs through modernized state laws have improved policies, creates better health through more accessible, efficient, cost-effective, and higher quality healthcare systems. And whereas 23 states, the District of Columbia, Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands have implemented full practice authority for NPs, granting patients full and direct access to the outstanding care offered by these healthcare professionals. And whereas leading the governmental and policy entities including the National Academy of Medicine, National Council for State Boards of Nursing, National Governors Association, the Federal Trade Commission have taken notice of the benefits for providing patients full and direct access to NP care. Now therefore, I, Archie Chesson, Parish President of Lafourche, do hereby proclaim November 7th through the 13th as National Nurse Practitioner Week, and do hereunforth set my signature and offer the official seal this 9th day of November 2021.
Welcome to, you don't have to, though. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Amy Ogeron. I actually live in New Orleans, but I am from here originally, and that's 123 West 107th Place, Cutoff, Louisiana. I just want to thank Archie and the council for recognizing nurse practitioners this week. We do our best to provide care to patients and give them access to care, especially in these rural communities like Lower Lafourche, and we want to help as many patients as possible. And so we appreciate the recognition and hope that you guys recognizing us helps us provide better care to our patients in the future.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Melissa.
I'm Melissa Marcom, 4306 Oriole Lane, Raceland. I have served my community for many years, and I have appreciated the opportunity to do so, and we have, the nurse practitioners have filled in a lot of holes in our rural care, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and that Mr. Archie has provided this proclamation that gets us noted and for all our hard work, and thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, very good. That's it, Mr. President. Brings us to item E, presentation and our updates. Number 4, Parish President to recognize Lafourche Parish Government Employee of the Month and our WOW employees for the month of October.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our Employee of the Month this month has demonstrated being instrumental working during Hurricane Ida. Even when we were running the front, doing all the necessary permits to get people power back on, and the hundreds of phone calls to permit, she did this without complaining and has truly been a team player, and she shows public service is all about. And I will say that our Employee of the Month this month is Deputy Danos, and she worked her tail off during the storm. She's one of many that we're trying to recognize that went above and beyond. So congratulations, Deputy.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. President. Congratulations again. All right, brings us to item F, executive session. I'll now entertain a motion to enter into executive session for the following. Number 5, LARS 4217A2, discussion regarding banks, ATOL versus Lafourche Parish Government ATOL, docket numbers 131264 and 131265. This will be by Mr. Adams for administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion on that? Going into executive session will be the parish president, parish administrator, Mr. Zarang, and our district attorney representation, Ms. Lisa Ogeron, as well as the full council. With that said, I've got a motion on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed with 9 yeas, 0 nays. This should be a brief break. Thank you. Okay, I'll now entertain a motion to reconvene the meeting at 1724 hours. So moved by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Wendell. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays. One stepped out the room, that being Councilwoman Chesson at this moment. With that said, the next item on the agenda is to take any action if necessary. There is no action to take, so we'll move right along on the agenda, which is item G, action from executive session, none to be had. Item H, legal advisor report, we have none. Item I, engineers and/or architect reports. Just remember to state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, John Plaisance with GIS Engineering.
John, if you don't mind, so 1725, Councilwoman Chesson has stepped back in the chambers.
Nope.
Sorry about that, John.
That's no problem. As y'all can see, we actually have slides tonight for y'all. We've gotten to the point where, since the storm, we're finally getting pretty close to normal. Excuse me about that. First project, drainage improvements along West 55th Street. The construction is recommended for substantial completion. I don't think that's on y'all agenda tonight, but I think a change order is, the balancing change order. The only remaining items are non-drainage related punch list items. Actually, the big one was a driveway that was actually poured yesterday. Moving on to the Cyprian pump station, phase 1 is complete. It says the punch list items should be complete by 11/17, but they're through today. That's phase 1. Phase 2, we are waiting for some equipment that should be come in April. So we'll be starting the contractor in May, and it should be 30 days or so before all that equipment is in place. Got a few projects in design, the Butch Hill Pump Station. We met with the Norton Foosh Levy District and Dillon, of course, to talk about the enlargement of the conveyance channel and retention pond. We began the hydrologic and hydraulic models for the area, and in order to place the pump station in its most efficient location. Got a couple of bridges. We're inspecting the Emily Street Bridge over Bayou Pointe-aux-Champs. We are beginning the inspection phase this week. The load rating phase should be done next week, and we should have the report to y'all by the end of the month. And we've got the Sanchez Road Bridge over Grand Bayou. The inspections will follow a similar schedule, but in this case, we're going to have some repairs to make for the pump station, for the bridge, and that should last hopefully about till Christmas or so, and we'll have that ready for y'all. One of the bigger ones is the Valentine Pontoon Bridge Rehab. Again, we inspected that bridge back in January, and the geotech has worked, although y'all just approved that contract with us last month. So we will be working on that. We will be replacing the bridge in kind with some design upgrades. We're trying to set up a meeting with DOTD to figure out exactly what design criteria they will have for us. Another big project is the Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction. The study and report phase 1 is complete. Phase 2, the modeling is underway. We'll be putting the pump station somewhere. It's off Highway 24 near the Williams Natural Gas Plant. We are working with the owners of the property in the area on that placement of that pump station. And again, this is just some of the modeling output that we've got. You can see where we hope for a big drop in salinity as you go further down. That's all we have. Any questions?
Any questions for John? Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor.
Yeah, John, on the West 55 project, they stopped the bayou water from coming in, right?
Correct. The
So
first catch basin down the street is only open to the bayou, so
'Cause
that
that
is
was-
the only place it goes.
Probably 98% of the problem.
Well, we'll see how much of the problem that
Close?
was.
I'm close?
I don't know. I don't know if you're 2%, if it's 2% or 98%.
On
but
a
somewhere
regular.
in that range.
Listen, on a regular tide, water was coming in there.
Absolutely.
So just think on a high tide. So if you stop that, I'm sure that's gonna help them people out a lot.
I'm sure it will.
Mr. Melvin.
Hey, how you doing? Real quick, I just wanted to make sure on Cyprian, you had April 22nd. Is that like?
April 2022.
Yeah, 22, that's what I'm sorry, April 2022. I just wrote 22. So my question is that when all systems are go, or I'll kind of?
That's when we expect the equipment to be be delivered, and then in May, that equipment will be installed. It should
What's
only
the-
take about a month to install.
So guesstimated, crank it up, just
End
guesstimate.
of May? End of May.
Good.
Only question I have, John, is any hurricane impact any of these projects? I mean, the Grand Bayou one, I know that that pump reintroduction, which will seal off, people have to understand you no longer will be able to go underneath the bridge by boat from the intercoastal or other areas, because it'll be completely blocked off. But isn't that, my understanding is that canal is it's all solid right now.
Right now, the canal's pretty much solid, so the hurricane has affected that. I do believe that we will still allow boat traffic to get under that bridge. It's just going to be restricted to a little bit.
Understood. I did it as a kid, as I couldn't drive, so. But anyway, Mr. President,
So on that one, we are working with Laura and the team to identify for a couple of reasons, right? Part of it is how do we get marine traffic through there for the floodgate that's down there? There's some existing levee work that has to be done for reaches Canal that go between the old Apache Farm levee and Pontoon. We've talked with Terrebonne levee districts, South Foosh and North Foosh, about using some of that material to close a breach that's in that levee in an emergency fashion to de-water it. But we still have a long way to go, and I think a lot of the modeling we did pre-IDA is gonna have to be redone. And, you know, does that impact where we put the pump station? Still a lot of talks with the landowners about where that pump station is gonna go as well. So we're trying not to block navigation for those people who have those camps, or the camps that are left along 24 that would go under that bridge. So we still have a long way to go.
very good. Thank you, John, we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other engineers and architects? All right, Jack, just remember, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Jack Plaisance with T. Baker Smith, 1100 South Acadia, Thibodaux. I'm going to report to you on the East Side Drainage Project this evening. I do have some slides to show you status that was accomplished this month. You know that the project was delayed due to the Hurricane Ida situation. So here I just have a few points to kind of bring you up to speed on what the project's about. It is a Louisiana statewide flood control project with local and state funding. Lafourche Parish government and Drainage District 1 are cooperating on this endeavor. LA Contracting was awarded a contract back in July, about $1.8 million. It's a 300-day contract, and as you see, on October 13th, they were issued a notice to proceed. So they're on schedule, about 15% complete on the work, expecting to complete this job prior to the August 9th completion date. What the project is about is, as some of you probably know, drainage improvements along the 20 Auburn Canal in the Galliano and Cutoff area, as well as several lateral ditches that connect the 20 Auburn Canal to the 40 Auburn Canal. So I'll go ahead and show you some photographs. Here's a site plan of the whole project. It is rotated, north being on the left side of this sheet. Down at the bottom left, that's East 44th Street where the work begins. And that yellowish line across the page that kind of follows the Bayou Lafourche is the 20 Auburn Canal. You can also see that there are 4 lateral ditches running towards the top of the sheet, towards the 40 Auburn Canal, that will convey that drainage to the pump stations in this area. Clearing and grubbing along this 20 Auburn Canal is a big part of the project. That's basically what the contractor has accomplished in the last nearly 4 weeks since beginning. You can see that the area along the canal was pretty overgrown with vegetation, so this is the first step where they go in and clear out about a 25-foot area along both banks of the canal. October 18th, This is in Galliano, kind of facing south. I believe that's East 52nd Street, the end of East 52nd Street, up on the right-hand side of the photograph. I mentioned some lateral ditches. This is the Plaisance lateral, which is near East 71st Street. This is one of the ditches that connects to the Auburn Canal. So it's been cleared and will be cleaned. I didn't mention that, but after the clearing phase, they'll go in and actually sweep out these ditches, as well as replace several culverts along the ditches. Valerie Canal is the one that connects to the south of Foosh levee. Borough Canals near East 40th Street. So this is the Valerie Canal. Just early on in the clearing phase, they'll come back and sweep those ditches, as I mentioned. We do have several drainage structures, a significant number of drainage structures. Most of these are crossings where landowners have access to the rear of their property. This is near East 44th Street on the Auburn Canal. This is basically the beginning of the project. Drainage work has started on the northern end of the project and will continue going in the southerly direction. You can see here we are adding additional culverts and cleaning existing culverts at this location near East 47th Street on the Auburn Canal. So the drainage work began last week. The clearing and grubbing is about a month underway. And like I said, we're expecting the project to be completed on time. This is over the weekend near East 51st. So they'll come back and actually sweep the ditches once these culverts are in place and the right-of-ways are cleared. And I think that's the last slide. Yes, it is. Any questions about this project?
Yeah, I got a question.
Mr. Lorraine,
I don't know, this light's not,
just let me know. We got it. Good.
Jack, on the East 74th Street, where they got the bridge and the canal, that's gonna stay?
Yes.
So that's not gonna hamper anything? I mean, you're changing out covers here and there, and you got this bridge, and it seems like lilies clog up probably by the bridge.
There will be some clearing as close as we can get safely to those bridges, but we're not going to address or work in close areas to those bridges. We're not going to do that.
Because that bridge, first parish president-elected Dick Eagley had built a house back there. I don't know how long the bridge was there before, but maybe it was built then. I don't know. I wasn't here at that time.
Yeah, we're not going to take any risks as far as modifying or possibly interrupting the integrity of those bridges. There are several that you know about in the area that we're not going to work on.
So there's more bridges than that, wooden bridges?
There are a couple, yeah. Yes.
I just hope it doesn't affect the project, because if you're going to be cleaning out, putting some of these fresh culverts for the landowners to get to the other side of their property.
Yeah,
And these bridges, I just hope it doesn't mess the whole project up.
Fair question. I think that the volume of water that's going to be increased, the flow increase through those areas is going to work its way through those obstructions or those areas that we can't clean near those bridges. And we'll work with Public Works if we do need to address something more carefully at those bridge locations.
Because you also have a bridge by the country club where all this water has to come.
That's right. That's right.
To go to the back, to the pump station.
That's right.
That was only my concern, that it doesn't create a problem.
Right. We'll monitor that.
You know how them engineers are, I don't have to tell you.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Got you, Jack. All right, thank you, Jack. We appreciate the
You're
update.
welcome. Thank you very much.
Any other engineers and or architects? Last call. All right, we'll move on to item J, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, et cetera. Ms. Carlene, you have the floor.
Mr. Harold Block, if you come to the podium, Mr. Harold, state your name and address for the record, and please remember you have 3 minutes.
Harold Block, 515 Canal Boulevard, Thibodeau. And I'm here regarding resolution number 20 and number 21. And basically, I think you all know that our bond group is working on two different bond issues to assist the parish's cash flow as a result of Hurricane Ida. Again, as you know, the tax collections are going to be delayed. There's no telling when the FEMA money will come in. There's no telling when the insurance money will come in. So to assist the parish in its cash flow, we're working on a revenue anticipation note that's going to be about $1.8 million. And we're working on a hurricane recovery bond, which would be about $11 million. And the Home Rule Charter, Article 6, Section 6, states that the parish council must approve a report prior to adopting a bond ordinance. So in your packet tonight, you have the reports for both of these bond issues. On the anticipation, on the revenue anticipation note, it's Exhibit A, and on the hurricane recovery bonds, it's Exhibit A and B. And basically what the Home Rule Charter says is before you adopt a bond ordinance, you must adopt a report that shows the anticipated annual debt service, the anticipated coverage of such debt service by the revenue pledged to payment, and the proposed means of funding operations and maintenance. So mainly the point of the report is simply to show that A, you're going to have enough money to repay these bonds. And the anticipation note is basically going to be used to fund operations, and it will be it will be paid by the general alimony tax once you collect it in 2022 instead of 2021. And the hurricane recovery bonds, the repayment source will be FEMA first, insurance next, and then any lawfully available funds. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Block? Mr. Grew?
And it may be for Parish President. That 1.8, this estimated for ad valorem and in the general alimony, that's based on a lower percentage than last year, or how'd y'all come up with that figure?
So it's based on a 25% reduction of the general fund. So that's only if we needed to cover salaries and benefits, really, so we don't have to lay anybody off. Not that we're even close to that, but that's just a catch-all just in case. The others.
So it's 25% less, but it also is safe to cover those line items you're talking about, salaries and benefits.
Yep.
Okay.
And really just to get us through until June, July, when those tax dollars really come in.
Any other discussion with Mr. Block? Thank you, Mr. Block. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Taylor Plazos and Mr. Ross Brunet, you come to the podium, gentlemen. State your name and address for the records. Please remember, y'all have 3 minutes.
Ross Brunet, West 157th Street, Cutoff, Louisiana. Yeah, I'm sorry, 143rd Street, Cutoff, Louisiana.
Okay. Y'all wanted to speak together, y'all said? He did turn his paper in prior to you.
That's no problem.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Taylor Plazons, 264 East 123rd Street, Galliano, Louisiana.
We came up with, last meeting, we approached y'all with a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, with many concerns on it, and basically what we got back, which was proposals, which didn't give into detail accountability of our tax dollars, where they went, which a bunch of people are asking. And with that said, I mean, I don't know if y'all know the legalities of a FOIA. I do know some of it, but this is information that's public. It's our tax dollars. If our tax dollars are paying for something, we have the right to ask where our tax dollars are being spent. And we had approached you, Mr. Archer, with a FOIA, and he had turned it over to public records. But all we got back in response was proposals from DRC, which none of it, of the other part of the FOIA, was answered. Is there any way that you could show us a different direction to get accountability for our tax dollars and how they are spent, that we could ask and answer the community back?
Anyone have any answers for that, Mr. President?
So just so you guys know, I am not the custodian of public records. That's our PIO, so I personally did not answer that. I mean, what's a lot of what you guys are asking for, believe it or not, we don't have the answers to yet. We have their proposals, which says how we are gonna pay them, but we haven't even begun to be invoiced for the debris work. So, I mean, the way the process works, I think everybody knows this, is all of these contracts for debris pickup are pre-positioned. There's a scoring regime that goes through for the pickup company and the monitor. We have a first position, a second position in case somebody can't fulfill their duties. In this case, it's DRC. Our main contact is with DRC. I think a lot of the issues, you know, and Mr. Plaisance and I have been talking over the last couple of days, the bigger issue is with the subcontractors. We don't deal with those guys on a day-to-day basis. We don't have a contract with them. Their overall boss is DRC. So I know Taylor and I have been working, I think DRC reached out to him today, and there've been some issues, and we're trying to work through those with our contractor, but yeah, what you got back is gonna be the answers you're gonna get to the questions.
There's nobody that can be held accountable for our tax dollars, how they're being spent. Basically, you telling us?
No, that's not what I'm
No,
telling
that's
you.
not what he said.
Well,
He said the information isn't available yet. That was pretty
See, but
crystal
that's,
clear.
and I don't know, accountability for what? I mean, I think if it's the accountability for the issues that Taylor had, then we're working on that.
Yeah.
So he's asking Lafourche Parish governments where our tax dollars are spent, and we can give you where our money's being spent. We haven't spent it, we have not.
We haven't spent it yet.
But we
That's
haven't
the
spent it yet, so we can only show what we've
Well, we
spent.
can only show what we,
Are
once
y'all
we
gonna
get the
show the public?
invoice, I can give you the invoice that shows they picked up 900,000 cubic yards at $2 a cubic yard, and we spent $1.8 million.
So y'all gonna make that known to the public how their tax dollars are spent?
I mean, we can. It's on, and I think it's, if you look at, if you go to our, I don't know if we put that on the transparency side yet, but if you go to our website, there's a full financial transparency tab that you can look up any contract that a parish has, and you can see how much we paid them and for what.
Well, a lot of our elderly people don't have the ability or the knowledge of a computer system. Y'all make that public in the papers?
Can you make that what?
I mean, I guess
Public in the newspaper, like the Foosh
but we
Gazette?
can make a presentation and do it
No,
on
we're
a
not
council
gonna,
meeting.
you're
I'm
not gonna be able to publish that in
the
the
paper.
paper. That's gonna be exorbitantly
That's gonna be a
expensive.
huge cost to put that in the
Yeah.
paper.
And-
Alright.
And not many people get the papers anymore because of the internet.
And
But,
look, I mean, I don't know if you're trying to make an allegation that we're doing something wrong,
No, there's no allegations of being,
but I can tell you that all of this is above board. I mean, it's not like we're wasting taxpayer money on the debris contractors or
But we
anything like that.
we ask simple questions in that FOIA, like how much, a breakdown of it, of who's getting what, how much is getting spent where, and that's all we asked for. All we got was a proposal from DRC.
Because we hadn't paid
I know-
them yet.
I know it's a proposal,
Yeah.
but how much? All right, no further questions.
yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
won't make it known,
It's
right?
coming, bro. It's coming. Yeah, we know what you're saying. It's coming. It's coming. Yeah, go ahead.
Taylor Plaisance, 264 East 123rd Street, Galliano. Okay, last meeting I came in and I addressed my business about the debris pickups and everything else that's been going on. Now, everybody heard the discussion of the 5 feet deal. Well, my conversation with DRC this morning was they can pick up as far as their trucks could reach. Well, last Friday, a 5-unit storage building with $50,000 of trawl nets, TEDs, and washers and dryers. Roof was missing. Got pictures. Partition walls are still standing. The whole building went into the truck. It was 8.5 feet off of the road, under the high line. Where I'm supposed to take this? Now instead of just being a simple business owner that's out there to come out and try to bring his people back into his community, now I got to explain to him how things is just, it's prolonged so much. It takes forever for things to process. And I understand the whole parish got hit. But I got 200 families just displaced out of my mobile home park, and I'm phase 3. So phase 1 is to, I understand, come in, let's get in safe. Phase 2 is what? Let's pick up the trees on the side of the road before we worry about getting people off the ground for the winter. It's a simple thing. All I wanted was help. I had it at day 1, then the Corps stopped me. Then I got an email saying 5 feet off the blacktop. I moved 5 feet off the blacktop 1,000 feet this way, and I moved 1,000 feet that way to my pasture. Then they can come in and they can tell me that they can reach as far as their trucks can go. Well, now what we're looking at is not just a Taylor Plaisance and J&K Reynolds. We're looking at a Taylor Plaisance and this whole community. So now it becomes not just a self court deal. It's gonna be a community. It's gonna be a whole community that's gonna step into this. Because it's not just myself. It's gonna become a class action. Because I can promise you, I can get more than just myself to stand behind me through all of this. It's not only me that's getting stepped on. There's numerous innocent people. In Galliano, they got a lady that's elderly in her 60s that's sleeping in a tent on the ground tonight. People are asking for help, heated blankets and heaters. Where we got to take this? I mean, the little bit money that I accumulated, I done spent already and got all my tenants that was on the ground and didn't have a safe refuge at a friend's house. I had enough people that supported me that they all off the ground already. But that's because they walked on the side of this man for the last 20 years.
So to be clear, I just want to make sure, because we want to answer whatever questions you're talking about. So questions on sheltering, I think. Do we have any updates you want to give them on sheltering so we can kind of move this along? I know I still have an elderly lady living in cars and all that. We all have it. So it's up and down the parish. You want to answer sheltering?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, so I mean,
But before we can even go to sheltering, we got to clean it. You know,
But what is your question of the, and look, we feel your pain, like we talked last night, and we appreciate you coming here. I just want to make sure if there's any specific questions you have that, or specific discussion you want to have, let us know what it is.
Everything that I've brought to you is to try to resolve this, and every way that I've turned, it's been a failure. I mean, it's like referenced last night, we're working with a village of idiots. I mean, I don't know how to put it, you know?
In our shoes, bro, believe me.
No shooting, no hurting,
I think we can all attest to that right now.
It's very, very lack of leadership on the federal government. I'm not gonna blame it on y'all, because y'all all here listening, but I've yet to have one DRC man or one Whit O'Brien man come step foot on my property and come talk to me face to face. It's always been a messenger or a phone call and I know everybody knows, if you're not looking at a man in the eyes, you don't know what kind of symbol they're making towards you. You don't know if they're making gestures or what they're doing. If you want to be a man and conduct business, you look at a man in the eyes and you come and you plead your case.
I agree. So, but Taylor, back to the specific questions right now. Any specific ones? I know you brought it to our attention. That's great. We appreciate it. Anything you want us to research or work on? Can't we get a DRC person to come and meet with him?
I don't know if any of them want to. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been trying this since day one. I offered to buy them a lunch.
You have the floor, Mr. President.
So I will say, and not that I want to, in this particular scenario, the contract is screwed up and we're trying to rectify it, right? But DRC is under real no obligation to go meet with him. Their contract is with us. So there's going to be a middleman, and that's going to be us while we're trying to figure out. Now, we did send Mark Stafford, who's one of the vice presidents with DRC. He had a contact with Taylor today. And he's supposed to go down at some point and visit with him. So we're going to try to push to make that happen. But they screwed up, right? We're trying to make it right, but it may be a little bit.
I'd hope that it's more than just him that comes right. Daniel can vouch. He came look at the building. The day that they took it. And, I mean, it's...
All right. So this gentleman we perhaps can get him.
Just
all right.
Just looking for a meeting and see if we can get this cleaned up, because housing can show up right now, but if they don't come in with a helicopter, we can't put them on police.
So the other thing, and this goes back to a conversation I think we had a couple meetings ago where the Corps may have stopped them. We have no control over the Corps. They rampage as they want. The issue we have in private developments is that we can't touch that, right? And I understand, and I've said this to multiple people who have called, well, why haven't you come down my private street, or why haven't you gone? And we've had a couple trailer park developers who have called. It's the curse of having a private subdivision. Yes, your tenants pay taxes. Yes, you pay taxes. But at the end of the day, the developer chose to make that private and keep it private. We just don't have free reign to go in there. So we're working through that private property stuff now, and I was going to talk about it at the end of the meeting and when I did my report, but we're working through a process now with Whit O'Brien to take applications for people who have either some type of extended right-of-way, where the bucket truck can't reach it, where they can go in there with a smaller machine and pick it up, or go into a trailer park per se and start grabbing stuff out the trailer park. That's not one of the first things they do. You know, when we come to recovery, you try to get everybody to bring their stuff to the road, and you run those residential streets first, mainly so we can unclog drainage and keep water flowing. The private property stuff is one of the last things we do because it is private property.
We drain also though.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten, I know I haven't gotten any response on private properties yet. We're still waiting on, I know Dylan has sent names, but so we haven't had any of that action. But in this case, it sounds like they may have moved a little faster in this case and then led to problems.
Yeah. And look, I will say, going back to the other gentleman, the two big money questions he asked for in the FOIA was, how much does the landowner of the debris site receive per cubic yard? We don't control that.
Nothing to do with that.
The DRC works out those deals separate and pays for that money separate. And the second question was the pay rates for the contractors and subcontractors. So we gave them, as of the FOIA data, 11/2/2021, how much veg, how much C&D, how many hazarded limbs, how many hazard trees, and then how much reduced C&D the haul out was, and then gave them the proposal. So all you gotta do is do some quick multiplication, and you can figure out what those numbers are.
Good.
What,
Thanks.
okay,
All right, good deal. We appreciate you coming, Taylor.
would there be any route of getting, just to try to get an answer? Do I continue moving trash and spending the little bit money I got left? Or do I just sit here and wait with a halo over my head before the horns grow?
So you may want to wait,
I mean, I don't know
because
which
the
way
other
to
problem
go.
we're going to have, Taylor, is that even if you got it to the road, it's still considered private property debris. So
Even
you're
though
gonna
the
end up in-
garbage truck been passing down it for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna keep fighting and we're gonna keep moving, and I'm gonna bring my people back one at a time. Yes, we appreciate whatever we can get. Just don't forget about us.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, partner. Mr. Melvin?
What I wanted to tell the gentleman, or anybody else listening or watching too, is that I understand sometimes the technology, have an elderly parent, this, that, and the other grandparents, whatnot. If technology is a challenge, you can always go to a local library branch to get information from the parish. We have a lot of good libraries, branches. I'm hoping most of them are still open or gonna be open. So
Not
you
so
can,
much.
and we have a lot of assistants who can, right. So what I'm saying is that it's coming, but I know that they can go to, maybe come a little further north to go to library, log on.
We still don't have internet.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about, even if you have to come a little further north just to get a
They're
little.
too old to look on the computer. They can't drive.
Right. Well,
All right,
maybe
go
a
ahead, Mr.
relative.
Melvin, finish what you got to say, so I can move on to Ms.
Yeah,
Lynn.
well, we have some technology available to help to get word out.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Ms. Chesson?
My light doesn't.
Mr.
lie.
Lorraine?
Yeah. First of all, he purchased this RV park with his father-in-law and mother-in-law,
Right, he told us that last meeting.
but he enlarged it.
Correct.
I went over there. What we talking about, where his sheds are at, storage, is not private property. It's West 123, and it turns and it comes out on 124. Where the RV park is at, where it goes to the back, that's private. But all this, what he's talking about, is not private.
Everywhere around the storage.
So that
Hold
truck.
on, Ms. Lorraine has a floor. Hold on.
That truck came in, and there's been some problems from day one. And you try to correct them the best you can. And I don't know why, but because he's speaking up, I guess, that this company's after him, I'm assuming. But what they did, he has his storage built. They came in and destroyed the whole where it was standing. And all the stuff that's in there was people from Grand Isle, Leeville, fishermen, that he tried to get in touch with to come get their stuff, but some of them couldn't come get it because they lost their house, they're fighting to survive. So the truck picks up all this stuff, skimmer nets, brand new. That's $1,500 a piece. That belongs to somebody. So he made them take the stuff out and put it back on the slab. So now you got one big pile of junk that who belongs to what? But it's not private property. It's not. Then they tell you we can only pick up 5 feet, 8. I've had that too. Y'all had that. Mm-hmm. Then they say we can pick up as far as we can go. I got a lady that we finally picked up her trash. They said it was a private street. It's not a private street. It goes up to her house and it's private behind there. I mean, they got so much stuff going on out there, you wouldn't believe it. And who do you believe? Some of these workers, I mean, everything's like erratic. You see them picking up here, they should pick up here. they'll pick up this, but they won't pick up the neighbor. I mean, come on. If you're in the area, just pick up what you need to pick up. But his problem, I don't know, he's got a serious problem. And he grew. He took it a step level, that young man. And they were doing good. Now he's completely destroyed. You know, going from X amount of dollars a month to a very low amount a month with everything destroyed. I'm sure he'll come back, but it'll take a while. But don't forget, he's making a good point.
Yep.
Because those streets are not private. It's private in the back.
Correct.
But in the back, what he's doing, he's picking up the stuff and bringing it to the 40s himself.
Trying to get my people.
They have nothing to do with that. So starting from the very beginning, they said, take your stuff, bring it to the highway. That is wrong. Because wherever that garbage truck went before, this truck should go. That's how you should base it. Now, there are some private places, but they usually sign and let them go pick it up, whatever, smaller truck or whatever. And I'm sure he's got that. But we're not talking about his private place. We're talking about public. And they actually destroyed the man. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's not his fault.
I can't
It's
guarantee
not
what's
Archie's
gonna
fault.
happen.
It's not my fault. But it's somebody's fault.
It all
Thank
goes
you, Mr.
towards,
Lorraine.
it all goes towards the point of where the tenants is gonna wanna go from here and what's gonna happen with that port. And as far as what's in, what are the 100 cubic yards that I hold myself, what's gonna happen? Do I burn that? Do I bury it? Will DEQ come after me? What's gonna happen with me? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That, you can
Will
burn
this
natural
fold me?
vegetation, that's it.
You know,
Anything other than
what
natural
about the rest?
vegetation is illegal, but
What about the rest? I just leave it there for the next storm? Can I
I'm just telling
bury
you,
it
from a
without,
fire
you know?
chief's perspective,
I know,
natural
I
vegetation.
understand that. Normally I get
Yeah.
Devon and all down south, whenever I do a burn,
There
they
you
come
go.
in and we'll saturate and we'll prepare whenever I do. Because 3 years ago, the parish told me that I couldn't haul to the front no more. Where I got no dumping signs is where everything had to get dumped. So it's years that I've been hauling to the back certain things, but I always hauled off my scrap myself, that way it didn't get buried. But clothes and
Hold
different
on to it,
things.
there's no
from
money
storage.
right now.
Yeah, we got stockpile. Anybody need some scrap removed, let me know, because we want to bring back J&K.
Thank you, Taylor,
Thank
we
you all much.
appreciate it, man, you got it, bro.
Appreciate your time.
All right, you got anybody else, Ms. Carleen? All right, for the record, Mr. Grove stepped out of chambers at 18:02 hours. With that said, we'll now move to item K, second budget public hearing. I'll now entertain a motion to open a public hearing. So moved by, open budget public hearing. So moved by Mr. Wendell, second by Mr. Adams. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passed with 8 yeas, 0 nays, one that stepped out the chambers, that being Mr. Grove. Item 6, public hearing for public comments on the proposed 2022 operations and capital budget for Lafourche Parish Council. I'll now accept any comments, anyone who wants to address the council on the 2022 operations and capital budgets. Open to the public. First call. Yes, sir. Just remember to state your name and address for the record, sir. And this will have to be specific to the 2022 operations and capital budget.
All right, my name's Timmy Guidry. Address is 140 East 122nd, Galliano, Louisiana 70354. As far as the budget's going, I'm pretty sure it's pretty scarce right now. And I know there's a lot of people watching, a lot of people making decisions to pretty much leave the parish for good. There's a lot of tenants that don't have homes to come back to, and I don't see the problems getting themselves pretty much fixing themselves. That being said, our safety, how we feeling, quality of life down here, everything's being threatened. With that being threatened, people like myself, we don't have the ball and chain tied to this parish anymore like our parents did, grandparents did, great-grandparents did. And we're kind of wondering what's going to be left over when our kids are going to come up. And what are they going to want to do with this place? I pass down the road and I see probably maybe 5 new constructions in the last 10 years in Galliano as far as homes being built compared to what just got destroyed. Now, what's really going to be tomorrow's plan? How is our budget going to be adequate to sustain our levies and with everything that's just got hit? Do we have a plan? Because I'm looking at aerial footage of everything that really has happened. And we all talking about today's problems and wondering what's going to really be solving today's problems when our our elected officials, as far as our insurance commissioners and stuff like that, are completely ignoring us, knowing that we have no more home insurance. This goes on next year. We're all looking at FEMA, which is not the way to do it. If we're going to stand here and survive and wonder if we're going to still be able to live the life of being South Lafourche or Lafourche Parish or any other district, which, I mean, I don't want to call out any district, but there's a couple of districts that's really threatened for survival. How are we going to be standing in 5 years from now and wondering if we even want to stand here tomorrow? What kind of budget plans do we have? Are we just going to put it on the taxpayers' backs? I mean, everybody knows the squeakiest wheel is going to get the oil. How much squeaking's really going on?
So I would ask, Mr. President, would you mind just restating what you said about this 2022 budget and how y'all came up with the plan for the 2022?
Yeah, so I think a lot of what you're talking about, Timmy, as far as levies, has to be directed to the levy district, right?
Right.
Those guys, I mean, we're all gonna be in the same boat. We're gonna see reduced taxes because the population is, you know, you're gonna have houses completely wiped off the tax roll. You're gonna have a lot of houses that are depreciated because of the damage. But what you have to consider in the coming years is the boom you're gonna see because of this, right? So while the 2022 budget is gonna be slim, you know, we have, you know, a 25% reduction in taxes. We don't know what royalty revenue is gonna look like for next year in the oil and gas market. We don't know what sales taxes are gonna look like, although if the trend continues, sales taxes are gonna be pretty high, especially in the South Foosh community, because at one point next year, between LA1 breaking ground, the new airport access corridor bridge, you have about $600 million worth of work happening in South Lafourche, right? So it's gonna make, once the hotels come back online, it's gonna make occupancy go up. It's all the little RV parks, anybody who can squeeze an RV somewhere, Taylor, it's, you know, you're gonna have a bunch of contractor crews coming in, right? So this year's budget is gonna be really tight while that depression happens. As people start to rebuild, and I think when you look at, you know, you can't really use, and some people have used Katrina as a model. You know, 40% of the population in St. Bernard left. Because of Wendell's system and because of the improvements Dwayne's doing in North Lafourche, we don't have 5 foot of water in everybody's houses, right? You're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna see the mass migration out of the parish that you see in other places because of storms, because of the level of protection we had. 5 to 10% probably are not gonna come back, are not gonna rebuild. But as the other markets pick up, you should be able to assume that. At no point in the foreseeable future do I see this parish raising taxes. That's never a good thing to do. I think we have to do more with less. But I think as you see the infusion of FEMA money coming in, you know, we added it up the other day. We have about $107 million worth of damage, the parish infrastructure, whether we're talking about pumps or buildings, the rec centers, the boat launches, whatever you want to talk about. A vast majority of that will hopefully probably be covered by FEMA. So between FEMA and our insurance company, a lot of the money we're having to tug at now to balance the budget is going to be put back into place.
With all due respect, as far as quality of life on this bayou, when we were kids, we had a lot better hunting, a lot more fishing, and a lot more security as far as insurance goes and levies. In today's world, we've lost half our restaurants. Our kids have zero recreational ideas or anything to do anywheres. Whenever we're going to be looking at this great boom that we're all hoping is going to happen, what are we really selling? What are you really coming out and saying, you know, this is what we have to offer? We have levees that are beaten. We have marsh that's gone. We have libraries that are pretty much state of the art, but hasn't had internet for 2 months. It's
But I was calling about Archie as just a quick reference to this budget, the 2022, where you said no new capital, and on the actual proposed, we're basing off this 25%. We got to wait for the tax assessor. If you could just tell them that real quick, because that's really the nuts and bolts of this budget.
Yeah, so you're going to see a 25% reduction in tax revenue. You're not going to see any new capital projects. And then as that money comes in June and July, you're going to see us start to fund that stuff and put that money back in the budget. Now, to his point, Mr. Chairman, very quickly, I think if you talk to any of us up here and the ladies and gentlemen sitting behind me, and hopefully the parish as a whole, I'm not looking at the doom and gloom of the libraries. That's a recovery issue, right? I'm looking what happens and I'm not even talking about 2022 or 2023. I'm talking about a 5-year plan, right? Where the parish comes back and you have internet, you have the libraries rebuilt. You know, Daniel's done a lot for recreation, and I'm going to give him credit for half a second, for recreation down the bay with skate parks and improvements to the Golden Meadow Park and the boat launches and stuff like that. I'm not looking, yeah, it's going to suck today, right? We just took a Cat 5 on the chin.
We're the
But we have to
customers.
figure out how to rebuild it, and
selling
that's
it.
our job. That's you guys as a community
product.
saying, hey, what do we want? Right? There's gonna be a lot of money, federal money outside of FEMA that's gonna roll through here
With that-
post-storm. What do we do as a community to how to rebuild it? That's the conversations we need to be having right now.
With that being said, the squeakiest wheels in our insurance commissioners and making it right on that level to where we can actually sustain a life down here with some kind of assurance that we will stand the next one. Because I can't afford the insurance of today. And flood insurance, I've gotten a phone call today because someone wanted to come through and assess my home to see about getting a grant for the parish about having flood insurance, even available.
But I want to keep you on course on the budget. So this is about the proposed budget that we have.
Right. Actually, I was on the card to speak before with the parish, and it wasn't, so I jumped up on it.
I got you.
But the budget did fit a little bit, so I figured I'd address that.
Yeah.
But
Some of
it's
those
just-
other issues are valid points, and they are fresh in everybody's minds right
It's
now,
just
so
food
we
for
need to
thought.
push.
We're buying, y'all selling, this is the product. We want it back as good as can be, but some things really need to be addressed. Insurance being number one, and number two, whenever it's all over with, we'll see where we could go from there.
True that.
Thanks for the time.
You got it. Thank you for engaging us. All right, so I'll continue, first call for public. Anyone else wants to comment on the 2022 operations and capital budget? Which, once again, as Archie stated, there's no more capital budget. It's what was in there last year, unfortunately, as we see how we come out of this thing. Second call for public comment. Last and final call for public comment. Now entertain a motion to close budget public hearing. So moved by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Adams. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passed with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item L, review of the 2022 operations and maintenance budget and the capital budget for the Lafourche Parish Council as follows. I must read through all of them. It'll be the fund number and then the fund name. 001, General Fund, Legislative, City Court, District Attorney, Clerk of Court, Court Reporter, Elections, Registrar of Voters, Finance, Executive, Purchasing, Property and Risk Management, Human Resources, Civil Service, Communications, Information Technology, Planning and Zoning, Justice of the Peace and Constables, Corrections, Parish Coroner, Civil Defense, Fire Insurance Rebate, Public Works, Coastal Energy and Environmental, Community Services, Grants, Economic Development, County Agent, and Intergovernmental Expenditures. 112, Criminal Jury. 113, Criminal Court. 114, Special District 1. 115, Off-Duty Witness. 121, Drug Court. 124, IV-D, Child Support. 130, Head Start. 131, Head Start CACFP. 141, CACFP Program. 142, Office of Community Action General Fund. 143, Weatherization. 144, LAHEAP. 150, Community Services Block Grant, CSBG. 154, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF. 160, Road Sales Tax District 8. 161, Road Sales Tax District 2. 174, State of Emergency. 181, Coastal Zone Management. 185, Beachfront Development Commission. 193, LCDB, Marydale Sewage Project. 196, FEMA Acquisition Elevation. 601, Workers' Comp. 801, BP All Spill. With that said, item M, questions, discussion regarding the 2022 budget. Anyone from the council like to discuss or have any questions that weren't addressed last night on the 2022 budget? Mr. Lorraine.
I just want to say, according to what Archie's saying, nobody's going to get ad valorem taxes this year. It won't be till March or April of next year and come into effect in July.
Yeah, typically we start to get them January, February.
Right.
Because of her reassessment, tax bills probably won't go out until March, which means we probably won't get the money in the bank until June, July.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is that they're not getting it now, but they're going to get it twice next year.
No, we only get it once per year anyway.
No, once per year, but then you're going to get it for July, but then at the end of the year.
You're going to get it again in January of 2023, yeah.
So it's almost like it's close to.
Yeah, 2023 budget is going to be awesome. Because you're going to have a lot of carryover, yeah.
And what you did was you didn't add anything. But then once you get the funds and you see what you got, then you'll have some supplemental appropriations.
Yeah. And
Right.
that's what I told you guys in the very beginning. All the meetings we had over the summer with you guys where we talked about capital projects and stuff like that, those things will still happen. Maybe in a 25% reduction, those projects might not be as big, right? But those projects are still gonna, and I've said this on the record, I put in an email, we're gonna do some supplementals to put those projects back in the budget for you guys when that tax money starts to roll.
Yeah, when you're gonna see what's actually coming in.
That's right.
Okay. See, I paid attention.
Are any of the taxing districts concerned about, say like Fire District 3, Chief Didon and all them, are they concerned about whether they're going to be able to keep rolling in this while they're waiting?
Yeah, so the only district that's reached out was the Juvenile Justice Commission. And we actually put them in contact with Jim and Harold because they were looking to kind of draw a line of credit or a bond like we're doing for some of the stuff too. So that's open to all the districts, and we've made that known to them that if they have a funding, like if they get a millage and they have available funds that they could pay the pledge back with, that there's a way to bankroll it the first 6 months of the year until that money comes in.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. President. Any further discussion by the council? All right. There being none, I have item N, but I don't see open, so I need to open. All right. Item N, public hearing and ordinance for ratification. I now entertain a motion to open public hearing. So moved by Councilman Adams, second by Councilman Wendell. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0 to open public hearing. Item 7, ordinance requesting no parking and no loitering signs to be installed on the left-handed side of the road from 521 to 545 Carla Drive, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 5, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of no parking and no loitering signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Adams. Would anyone from the public like to comment on this ordinance? Ordinance number 7. First call, second call, last call for public. Anyone from the council like to discuss this item? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 8, an ordinance to reduce the speed limit from 35 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour on the 40 Auburn Road from Frederick Drive to Abbey Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 5, District 1, Parish of Foosh, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of speed limit signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Adams. Would anyone from the public like to comment on Ordinance 8? Item 8. First call, second call for public, last call for any comments from the public. Anyone from the council? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 9, ordinance accepting the subdivision known as King George Estates Phase C into the parish system. Moved by Councilman Jones for the administration, second by Councilman Adams. Anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 9? Second call for public, last and final call for ordinance number 9, public comment. Anyone from the council? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 10, ordinance approving Civic Source to public advertise and auction the adjudicated property located on North Bayou Drive, Golden Meadow, Louisiana, 70357. Assessment number 0102066100 due to non-payment of ad valorem property taxes and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine for the administration, second by Councilman Araby. Anyone from the public?
Question.
Go ahead, Mr. Lorraine.
Is this located in town? I'm kind of confused here. Because I see.
Anyone have the answer to where the location this one is?
Roy and Selman, I know he used to own that. If it's a piece of property I'm thinking of, this would be in town. Do we handle stuff that's in town? If it's in town?
It is in town.
Yeah, it's right north of, I'll tell you where it's at, right north of Tucci's Groceries.
Yeah.
To go to the school, the main road to go to the little school when you first get in town, going south.
I'll trust you, I guess. I don't know.
They've been debating that, the town, because I go to their meetings, they've been debating this for a long time. I just didn't think that we were going to go into the town and do so. I'm just asking.
So when they don't pay the taxes, it's adjudicated to the parish, not the town. So it doesn't matter if it's in Lockport, Thibodaux.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Meta.
But I know when I go to the town, they debate this all the time. And now I see
Yeah, they have their own separate ordinance likely for these types of situations, but this was specific because of the ad valorem.
And if there's any back taxes from the town, they should receive something off the sale too.
It's a property that was sold and divorced and this and that. I mean, I've seen so many come there, and so it's just a vacant lot, but I'm just was concerned because it was in town. I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
vote
let
for it.
the
I
record
mean,
reflect that Councilman Melvin stepped out at 1900 hours. All right, thank you, Ms. Lorraine. At this time, anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 10? Second call, last call for public on item 10. Anyone from the council wants to further discuss this? There being none, all in favor, let the record reflect 1820. Councilman Melvin's walked back in the chambers. With that said, we'll move item 10, ordinance to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 11, ordinance approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located at 240 Treasure Drive, Raceland, Louisiana, 70394. Assessment number 00312594423 for a minimum amount of $5,620 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Wendell for the administration, second by Councilman Adams. Anyone from the public would like to comment on item 11? First call, second call, last call for public comment on item 11. Anyone from the council would like to discuss this? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 12, ordinance amending ordinance number 6550 that amended ordinance number 6488, which adopted the 2021 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget for Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting salaries of unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Homeroom Charter. Moved by Councilwoman Chestnut for the administration, second by Councilman Lorraine. Anyone from the public like to comment on item 12? First call, second call for public on ordinance under number 12. Last and final call for public comment, item 12. Anyone from the council wants to discuss this? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item O, proposed ordinance. Mr. Wendell, you have the floor. Oh, I'm sorry, because it wasn't on there. All right, I'll now entertain a motion to close public hearing. So moved by Councilman Adams, second by Councilman Jones. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you, Mr. Pauline. Mr. Wendell, you got the floor now.
Item number 13 under proposed ordinance. Proposed ordinance accepting the subdivision known as re-subdivision of land owned by Kent Bouvier into the parish system by Mr. Melvin on behalf of administration.
Short and sweet. Thank you, Mr. Wendell. Item P, resolutions. Number 14, resolution approving change order number 1 for the project titled Drainage Improvements along West 55th Street, increasing the contract price by $13,830.67 and adding 10 additional days to the contract time and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilwoman Chestnut for the administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 15, resolution approving change order number 2 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and River Birch Renewable Energy LLC for storm debris services and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Adams for the administration, second by Councilman Jones. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 16, resolution accepting a grant agreement from PetSmart Charities Incorporated in the amount of $25,000 for emergency relief and response for pets related to the impact of Hurricane Ida and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said grant agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Melvin for the administration, second by Councilwoman Chesson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 17, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Pisciola and Associates Incorporated for engineering services for the project titled Hurricane Ida Bridge Repairs and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilwoman Chestnut for the administration, second by Councilman Lorraine. Any discussion? Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is one of those after the facts as part of the storm. So Joe and his group have been working on this for probably a couple of 3 weeks now for the T-Bois Bridge, the McDonald's Bridge, Côte Blanche, and the Galliano Pontoon to fix some electrical issues and some issues with the bridge house. So the project's actually out on bid right now. So we hope to have those completed fairly quickly once we take the bids. Closing in the bridge house, fixing all the electrical issues on the inside because the control panels and stuff got wet.
Mr. Lorraine.
the Galliano Bridge is the winch that's out.
So that's something completely different. That's not in this project.
That's not in this.
That's not in this. We're fixing that in-house.
So that's what I was gonna ask, if this was the only bridge that was damaged.
No. So this is.
But don't you have to put them on?
Does it include the one in Raceland too? Yeah, so the North Bridge on the North 182 Bridge in Raceland, that's actually ours. T-Bois, the McDonald's Bridge, Côte Blanche, and the Galliano Pontoon. This is all storm damage, has nothing to do with the Galliano pontoon that's out right now.
Right, okay, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that you're giving this work to Pisciola and Associates, but you're not giving the other bridges that you just named. You're just doing this bridge, all the ones you said.
All five.
Oh,
All
okay.
five Joe's working on, yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. President, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 18, resolution amending resolution number 21-086 that approved the hiring of an attorney and/or their law firm when necessary to perform any and all legal defense services for the Lafourche Parish government and to provide compensation in accordance with the Louisiana Attorney General's fee schedule and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Would someone move on my behalf for the administration? Motion by Mr. Melvin, second by Councilwoman Chesson. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 19, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Csrs Disaster Recovery Management LLC for professional services in response to Hurricane Ida and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Adams for the administration, second by Councilman Wendell. Mr. President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So CSRS is doing a project, and this goes back to, I think, a bunch of calls you guys have gotten. I think something Mr. Timmy just alluded to as well. So post-storm, because of the National Flood Insurance Program, we have to do what they call substantial damage assessments. So we have to figure out any house inside of a flood zone, or what we call the special flood hazard area, has to be looked at. The CSRS has started working a phone bank, reaching out to people and calling people inside the special flood hazard area to start to set up inspections. By no means do you have to allow these folks in your home. Does it help? Yeah, it does. But if you don't, and you don't want them on your property, then they will do it from the street. They'll take a couple of pictures, and they turn that information over to us. It doesn't really go anywhere. That we have to report it over to FEMA, but it comes to us. There's a couple of things. It helps us on the funding. I hate to say it this way, but the more damage you have, the more money FEMA likes to give you post-storm. And it also helps us from a permitting perspective that as people build stuff, if the house is over 50% of the value of the home damaged, then it has to be brought up entirely to code. So that means the elevations, like mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all that fun stuff. So we've begun to do a blitz of information. You will see more coming from Robbie's group to penetrate as many people as we can when we talk about what this company's doing, so that when people are getting phone calls, they know it's legit, they know what it's doing. There's going to be a ton of letters going out from CSRS explaining the program. They've already begun to put door hangers on people's houses that they have visited. So if you see the groups, they're going to have a badge that says Lafourche Parish Authorized Contractor with the guy's picture on it and their name. They're going to be wearing the high-vis vest, the neon greens with hard hats, and driving around neighborhoods. So if you see them, that's what they're going to be doing.
Councilwoman Chesson.
Only they're making appointments and they're not showing up.
Okay.
Councilman
Just
Grove.
maybe put that in their ear, that if they're going to make an appointment with these residents, they need to show
They
up at
need to
those
show up.
appointments. Yes,
Okay.
because they are taking off from work, they're going to their homes, waiting for this meeting to happen, and then there's no one there. And I've had, quite a few tell me they didn't show up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Same comments I've gotten from FEMA. Anyway, Councilman Grove.
And I know it's a slippery slope, but kind of along the lines of what you're saying, you're going to push some things out. The common thing I'm hearing is, and it's, I'm sending them over here for FEMA, it's like, man, I go online and I do this. If they have, the guys are saying they don't have internet, but if they get through, then they get on the phone and then they're like, you need to go to SBA. They're like, I don't have SBA, I have a business. What are you talking about? Just trying to get a generator reimbursement, just something small, not even catastrophic, And every case is different, but anything we can push out that's just like a playbook to help these people in layman's terms, in common terms, and we throw out all these acronyms, all the time of what things mean, but people don't know where to go, in a lot of instances, and they may be intimidated about letting somebody in their house. Like if I let them in, does that mean I'm gonna reveal that I have more damage? And next thing I know, we've all heard the stories about somebody wanting to build a shed, and like, man, I'd have to soup up my lawnmower to be able to get it up, to get in the shed if I build it to elevation, So how, I think there'll be some people having their guard up with the government showing up or whatever to reveal what they have, because they're going to be scared that they're not going to be able to afford to live there, or if they get assistance, that they're going to have to put their house up, like a camp. And how many of those things, how many elevation deals are they going to be handing out? Only give out a few a year as in the past. So anything we could do to help these people, because I know it's very, very stressful times, and when they go on to meet with people, they're scared to reveal sometimes the truth because they're scared of what they're gonna be told.
Yeah, and we've talked about it internally, so as the parish, we get to make the final determinant of over what's substantially damaged and what's not, right? So we ask people if we get the report back, and we're kind of thinking ahead on this, so let's say, you know, they go to Mike Grove's house and they say it's substantially damaged, they turn that folder into us. We look at your tax assessment, and then if you have a recent appraisal, we're gonna try to work with whatever number's higher to keep people, FEMA's not gonna like when I say this, but keep them out of that substantially damaged category. So we're not having people go from, you know, I talked to one lady a couple weeks ago in the Prairie, right? You know, her house is grandfathered in, the new maps sure needing to be at a +7, her house is at a 4, right? She'd have to raise that whole house up 3 feet, and how do you pay for that? Insurance isn't gonna cover that, you know, and are there gonna be some acquisition and elevation grants? Probably, but it's not gonna be what everybody's gonna need to raise their stuff if we have 10,000 homes that are substantially damaged, right? So we're trying to think through how to work that so we can kind of stave off what could be a nightmare for a lot of people.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, so with the new maps, Archie, when does that take effect? In January?
Oh, no, we're probably a good 2 years before those new maps take effect.
So with all that studying and everything that they're coming out with, that won't take effect till 2 years?
Probably. So by the time so we got a new set of maps over the summer. The levy district, the parish met, we actually still have some issues. Those maps are still pretty defunct. So we're theoretically appealing the appealed maps. So even if they deny our appeal and they come in January and say, all right, we're not vetting your appeal anymore, these are the maps, take them or leave them, and we start that process, by the time you do all the public hearings and all the ordinances, it's gonna be a year and a half or 2 years. But here's the funky part, is that, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox about.
Yeah, I want to try to bring us back
Yeah,
onto
go
we're on a resolution right now. I know we're talking about flood control programs and stuff now, so it's kind of like.
No, but if you're fooling with all these houses, that needs to be known.
It's gonna have to be the current maps for now. There's no way to use the preliminary maps as a way to.
But what
gauge
I'm saying, if you got a +3, you had a +3 right now, right here. In January, it's still gonna be a +3?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. President, the only question I have, since no one else has a light lit up, is if someone makes an appointment and then they change their mind, when they show up, just tell them, hey, I changed my mind, right?
Yeah, I don't want you on the property.
So the overwhelming response I've gotten is people are sick of assessments and they want action. And no more assessments, they're tired of assessments. You know, I think last time we had 2 people living in FEMA trailers, but there's still these assessments going on. So anyway, I'm just telling you what the constituents are telling me.
And look, this has nothing to do with the site assessments for FEMA trailers. This is a completely separate, federal law says that we have to go touch each one of the houses or attempt to in the special flood hazard area as part of this substantial damage process. Has nothing to do with the site assessments for trailers.
Very good. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 20, resolution accepting and approving the report required by and in compliance with Article 6, Section 6 of the Homeroom Charter. So moved by Councilman Melvin, second by Councilman Wendell. Any discussion? Item 20. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 21, resolution accepting and approving the report required by and in compliance with Article 6, Section 6 of the Homeroom Charter. Someone, Councilman Melvin moving on my behalf of the administration, second by Councilman Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 22, resolution approving an amendment to the agreement between the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and Lafourche Parish government for use of the Matthews Government Complex as a disaster recovery center, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Wendell will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 23, resolution approving an agreement between Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services Incorporated and the Lafourche Parish government for commercial insurance package as quoted. And authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Grove for the administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item Q, parish president, department heads, directors, our manager reports and presentations and our updates. Number 24, Department of Public Works, a representative to present a report. Dylan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with the November report. As always, starting in District 1, Frederick and Amanda Drives, replace street signs. Frederick and Denise Drive, replace street signs. Carla Drive, replace street signs. And Paula and Denise Drive, replace street sign. District 2, Choctaw Road, repair potholes. Talbot Extension, replace driveway culvert. Greenwood Plantation, repair potholes. Lasang Road, cut grass. District 3, Abigail Drive, cut grass. Milltown Subdivision, straighten street signs. District 4, Baja Trail, replace collapsed driveway culvert. By Blue Bypass Levee, remove trees from levee. Brandywine Boulevard, install children at play signs. Donald Drive, replace street signs. Parkside Drive, swept drainage ditch. Rue St. Paul, replace street sign. By Blue Recreation Levee, cut grass. And we move to District 5. Bobcat Lane Levee, remove trees. Dewey Street, swept roadside ditches. Lower Pointe-a-Chan Levee, repaired levee. Moving to District 6, Acadia Outfall, remove debris. Carl Adams Outfall, swept outfall. Cypress Street, swept roadside ditches. Elm Drive Outfall, swept outfall. Saco Drive Outfall, remove trees from outfall. St. Anne Street Outfall, remove trees along outfall. Moving to District 7, straighten road signs throughout the LFO area. Buchanan Street, replace collapsed driveway culvert. And you can see in the left photo where we removed some landscape culverts that were impeding drainage. Chester Lee, replace collapsed driveway culvert. Company Canal Pump Station, clean trash screen. South Main Outfall, cleared trees from outfall. And then we went back and swept the outfall. West LaRose Electric Pump, swept roadside ditches. Xavier Drive, swept drainage ditch. Clean culverts. And the guys decided to take a selfie while waiting on the culvert cleaner to come out the other end. So see, our employees have fun at work too. Moving to District 8, East 40th Street, replace collapsed driveway culvert. East 63rd Street, install driveway culvert. Grimiel Pump Station, repair the access to the parking area. Now, when we go through these, it's just going to say LaRose cutoff area outfalls. We had a lot of other barns that came to the aid of the Galliano field office, so they didn't know the names of all these outfalls. They were pointed in a direction and took off, so I apologize for not having the names in District 8 and 9, but we did have Choctaw, Bayou Blue, Thibodaux, Lockport. Everybody was helping out these guys, so, and Raceland. So I'll go through a few of them so you can see. And again, I apologize for not having the names. Triple Ridge Outfall, swept outfall. West 21st Street Outfall, swept outfall. West 21st Street, replace street signs. West 39th Street, replace street signs. West 79th Street, remove debris from outfall. Moving to District 9, East 120th Street outfall, cut grass and remove trees. East 176th Street, replace the street signs. East Golden Meadow Pump Station, remove trees from the pump station. Highway 3235 and the Acme outfall, swept the outfall. And the Ray Sheremy outfall, cut grass. Oh, sorry, one more. Ted St. Pierre, Outfall, swept Outfall. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Dylan. Anybody got any inquiries? Mr. Grove?
I do. So, you flashed up Abigail, and that's one of the ditches like the
That's the one with the
Gravel. Did you get the beaver? Or did you break up the beaver dam?
Yeah, we did a few months back. I'll check with them and see if they did it again.
Okay.
On this one. I say a few months back, a few weeks back we did.
That ditch and others, I don't know if the Thibodeau Born is still hurting for some equipment. What happens is you cut one side, which I'm grateful for, as well as the residents, but everybody on the other side's like when they come, so, and it's always, we don't have the right piece of equipment. In their mind it's like, why we're not going with both and finishing it one, it's just like picking up garbage on one side of the street.
So you and Bo will be happy to know that for the first time, probably this entire year, we have all 3 tractors operational at the Thibodeau field office, so.
The guys are working hard. Look, it's been manpower,
Yeah.
Get the
And
people
equipment.
from the jail, because they used to come and weed eat, but, with COVID, you couldn't get them out. I mean, it was.
And in one of the pictures we did have some inmate labor helping out as well.
But it's true,
Yep,
So I'm appreciative of the equipment being fixed.
Yes, sir.
Let the record reflect at 18:40, Mr. Wendell stepped out of chambers. Mr. Melvin?
Yes, Dee, thanks for that report. Real quick, because I have some other questions for Archie, but, okay, so, on the Parkside Canal outfall, there's 2 kind of parallel, one behind the houses and one major. I saw that tractor with the bush hog and the side boom bush hog. Did y'all get to Parkside?
They're supposed to be going there this
Okay,
week.
'cause that's been way before the
Yep,
storm.
yep.
Number 2, on the backside of Victoria Court, which is behind Brandywine, it's a corner. The grass on the Canefield side across from the houses, they got saplings growing in this thing, and it's really time to put a boom tractor on there. Overdue. And I get it, we've been busy, broken tractors. And real quick, do you have an update, or can you kind of give me some information in regard to, I'm just writing the time down, Ms. Patsy Lombardo on Fairway, or what we're gonna look at, because she said she has a collapsed culvert. I know we looked at doing a ditch. I mean, what was the
I
status?
did see your email on that. I do not have an update for you this time. We're gonna meet with the contractor again to talk about him sweeping the canal. He's working on a lot of major stuff for us right now, repairing stuff from the hurricane, but
Okay.
when he wraps that up, I'm sure that's a discussion we can have with
And
him.
real quick, last one for you. Does the vacuum truck I put in the budget exist? Is it real?
It's
Or is it
real.
phantom?
Well, I haven't seen it
Where
yet,
is it?
but
I want to
it's,
see it.
yeah, we do as well. We are supposed to have a chassis the 3rd week of December.
Okay.
So that
what's
won't be the
what's-
back truck. That'll be,
What's the delay?
there's a delay. I mean, one of the first
Waiting on
delays
the
was the
chassis.
chips, with same thing that every vehicle needs. So, I mean, everything's delayed.
I don't believe no shit, but anyway.
Welcome to fire truck world, too. Mr. Araby?
Dylan, couple of things for you. And again, thank you for getting some of the outfalls that I've been preaching about cleaned out already. But where we stand with the Pelican one, and where we stand with the rear DD troops, and where we stand with Gaines outfall with Mr. Hawks that I talked to you about, Hawkins.
Okay, so we met with Lisa with the district attorney's office today on the outfall of Mr. Reggie. We still have some more, I'm back at Pelican, I'm sorry. We still have some more homework to do to see if we can figure out. We believe Mr. Reggie acquired the property. We want to know how he acquired the property, because that has to be in the right-of-way document. We have to say where the property was obtained in order for him to grant the right-of-way. So as soon as we can figure that out, may take a little time, do some title search, find the homework, then we can go ahead and take care of it. DD Toops, the contractor is on Central Lafourche. The same contractor who's working on Central Lafourche is doing that. He's gonna find a balance where he can pull off a Central Lafourche and do that. In the meantime, he may finish Central Lafourche before he gets to it, but he's gonna work on that initial stretch that we agree with Mr. DiArcangelo from the fence to the front. Once that's completed, we're gonna meet with Mr. DiArcangelo, reassess the situation, and see if we can get a right-of-way going all the way to the back. We kinda wanna show him what we can do, first of all, make sure he's happy with the ditch, that way we can extend it to the rear. As far as Mr. Harkless, we are doing the homework on the property, we started that yesterday, to figure out all the owners in the property. We heard that there may be multiple owners in the property, I'm not sure if he owns it solely or if it's family property. We're gonna figure it all out, that way when I meet with him, we know exactly who needs to sign and what they need to sign.
Okay,
think I got
also, on this gentleman right here, that's in the audience, I know we had talked about him getting right away, and I got the young lady to come down and meet with y'all about the right away and everything else. And I understand we still have not done anything with that ditch yet. Are y'all have any plans? Or what's the plans on it?
She decided to sell the property. The property is not fully sold yet. We have talked to the guy who's buying it, and he wants to give us a right of way as well. So we're gonna have to wait for the transaction to happen. Once the transaction happens, we'll be able to get the right of way from where he purchased it to the rear. There's still a gap in between that we're gonna have to work on, but we can at least get the right of way at the rear of the property once the new gentleman purchases it.
And what's the status on the Casual Canal in Rayson by the Recreation Center?
So we working with one of our landowners to get that whole harmless. We received one of the whole harmless that you gave us. As soon as we get the other whole harmless, like I said, the contractor, he's really busy right now. We're gonna get him to go in there and help out, or we'll get our guys to go and help out. With those big trees, it'd probably be best that he does the work, at least to get the trees out. But we'll work through that as soon as we can. But we got everything in line to do it. We're just waiting on one more whole harmless.
Think we'll see that before Christmas or what?
Realistically, it won't be completed before Christmas. We might start it before Christmas.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Ms. Lorraine?
Yes, didn't the National Guard help clean out some of these outfalls?
They did. One issue that we are running into is if there was a gate or cattle in the pasture, that's kind of something
They
they
wouldn't
didn't want
go?
to deal with. They bounced and went to the next one. So we got the help we could while they were here, but, and I can understand why, there's a lot of liability extended for opening a gate and exposing themselves to liability. So we kind of, our guys are used to that kind of stuff. So we took those, we let them leapfrog to the other ones. There are a few that were missed though, that they
Yes.
skipped, we skipped, so we're going back catch them. But they did help out a lot. They did a lot of outfalls while they were here.
You don't realize how many they have till you get out there and check them.
Oh, there's
There's a bunch.
There's over 150 south of the end of coastal.
So let me bring this by you, the Acne thing you showed on there, that was the south side of where the trucking company was at. So if we clean the north side one, in which when that was dug, we did them both. And I got the right of way from Rosalind, and the other one is on the property of Rosalind and Griffin. But that would help out Cindy Sanders, if you remember. That one's full of grass, but, because they got a covered crossing the highway and it just goes to the forest. So if we I turned it in a work order.
Okay.
If we sweep that one out, that would help Cindy, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
On that.
Yes, sir.
And that would be a big help.
Yeah, we're looking at the outfalls in that area. As soon as we catch up on some of the ones Mr. Abbey's working on, I'm gonna have the right-of-way coordinator look at that kind of stuff and see what right-of-ways we have in that area to help Mr. Sanders. I know it was a big discussion at last
But
Thursday's meeting.
both of those canals were dug at the same time, because
Understood.
I was the one that got that, requested it at the time. Okay?
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Lorraine.
you.
Mr. Adams?
Choctaw Road. I see they put some patches. They're all out almost already. When we gonna pave it, man?
I don't have an answer for you on that. We're still working with the engineer on it. Again, engineer's waiting on me to finalize some stuff for him. So it's on that.
All right.
It's just-
Grand Valley Boat Launch. I done got about 10 people this weekend told me they scratched their boat, and it's about to get bad out there because it's hunting season and everybody wants to go to that boat launch.
So I know David put a PO in for some timber to repair it. I know he got the PO to do it. I'm assuming he got the timber and is going to install it. So I can follow up with him tomorrow.
That's cool.
Mr. Jones?
All right, Mr. Lafourche, can I get an update on the one on the road ditch from that pond coming toward Talbot?
So we're gonna have to excavate the gravel ditch. I'll follow up with Mr. Gary and see where he is with that, see if they ever put it on the work order or completed it. Remember, that's where that ditch had kind of silted in and was
Right.
holding back some of the water coming out of the retention pond. So I'll follow up and see if they ever did it or if they have it in the plans to do it.
Okay. I also still need to meet with you on the northern side.
It looks like
of
tomorrow.
District 1. Tomorrow?
Tomorrow might work for that. I
Or
have
afternoon?
2 meetings in Thibodeau at 2 and 3, so maybe after that.
After that, that's fine. Also, I guess we have to give the governor, Archie, can I get an update from the west side drainage project from the city?
So I actually emailed Tommy today about the Barbier Street stuff with the sewer, but I did not ask him about the right of way from behind Mr. Long's property, but I'll do that tomorrow and follow up with you.
Very good. Thank you, Dylan. We appreciate it. That said, go ahead and move into item or discussion, so and they can still ask any questions that they may have of any follow-ups with the parish administration. With that said, Mr. Lorraine, any final issues, questions, discussion?
Yes, Archie said he would elaborate on the Leeville boat launch. You trying to want to go fishing in your area, they can't even get to mine in that area. Just the road repair. I texted you a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so Dylan and I talked about that the other day. Joe P was supposed to go look at it. We talked about sending Joe Pisciola there to figure out how to fix the road permanently. 'Cause it's a pretty bad washout.
No, I know that.
So-
And it's always gonna wash out when a storm comes.
Yeah. So instead of us doing a half-ass job at it, we put in. I'm trying not to, right? So let me have Joe. Let me follow back up with Joe and see if they went look at it, and then we'll come up with a plan to get it.
No, but the fishing pier is gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it needs to be fixed.
Hopefully
It's just a matter of getting
but
it
the
done.
boat launch is in good shape and people want to go fishing. Exactly what he said. And I run across a lot of people, but if we could address the road, like you say, but I'm hoping to get it done as soon as we can because the fish is biting right now. And then what about the Galliano Bridge? When is that going to be fixed?
Dylan?
The winch, I think, is out. And we had a winch at that barn. I don't know where it went, but we had one.
So the barrel on the winch is out. It's at a crane company in Houma. We're waiting to get a price on it. We did find out today that they are going to have to rebuild the barrel of the winch. They can't locate one, so they are going to have to mainly rebuild it. There was an old winch at the Galliano field office. There was a project, I think in 2018 or 19, to rebuild that winch. There was no funding at the time, so they robbed all of the useful parts off of that old winch and put it on this winch to pacify it to get it this far. So we have no more spare parts or leftover stuff from the original winch. So this winch does have to be rebuilt, so it will take some time.
How long are we expecting this to go on?
I don't know. I'm trying to get my first quote on it, and unfortunately I have to get 3 quotes, so.
Because, Armin is familiar with this because from the South Lafourche Bridge to the Golden Meadow Bridge, it's probably about 9-10 miles. So if somebody gets sick and they need that Galliano Bridge, an ambulance or something, it could be the difference between life or death.
Yes, sir.
Bad wreck.
I understand. We did all we could. Our guys worked late Thursday, and I thank them all for it. They worked late Thursday to get it out, and somebody worked Friday morning to get it to the place so they could look at it. So we're doing all we can on our end. Everybody's really busy right now, so we're trying to get a quote. As soon as we get one quote, we're going to bring it to the next place, get a second and third quote, and go from there.
Now, on a side note, I'm going to have to watch what I say. We got some problems down there. I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but we have some serious problems. We have no hospital. You got an emergency room. We have no dialysis. They said the building was gutted. You got the clinic in the front. A lot of people were let go on their jobs. Some are probably working at Thibodeau, some are in Morgan City, some are wherever they could go. A nurse is going to find a job, a registered nurse. That ain't no problem. A lot of people was let go. Some are not. Most of them were. Lights. We still in the dark. I'm not asking to put a light on every post. I'm asking to put a few lights up so we can see where we at. We have no library at South Lafourche. We have no assessor. We have no register of voter. We have no clerk of court. We have no permit. I'm telling you, it's bad, gentlemen. Price of gas is almost $4 a gallon. They got to come all the way up here, these people. I feel sorry for the ones for dialysis because somebody got to bring them either to Thibodeau or home or wherever, and they got to wait 4 or 5 hours. They could look at trying to get a portable building there or something. And I know they don't make money with the dialysis. But it's a service to the people. You think it would look good if you wouldn't have a hospital in Thibodeau? Think about that. We don't have it. So now we got a broken bridge. Don't know when we're gonna get that fixed, but they're trying. And hopefully we can ease some minds by getting that Leeville boat launch fixed so some people can go fishing and quit thinking about some of this other stuff. So I just want to tell y'all that we're in bad shape. I don't know how many of y'all realize that, but we're in bad shape. We got some homeless people, not just some, a bunch. We had some before, but now you got more. And it ain't gonna come back right away. Take Foosh, never went yet. You had 3 seaports, 1, 2, 3. They took the 3 and they made 1. So without the other 2, you know how much business that they were having that they actually don't have? And they came back. They're coming back. But it takes time. So I just, when you go over that levee to Leeville, they ain't got much left. They got a lot of trash to pick up. That's another hot issue, the trash. I just hope it gets coordinated a little bit better. It seems, I've seen more and more trucks, but, it's like I told one lady, if I could get all the trash picked up in one day, it would be done, but I just can't do it. And we tried. Some people are patient, some people are not. And there's a lot of people that get the shaft. It's not being done the way it should be done. And I'm not pointing the finger at just anybody, it's just chaos. So if you don't think we're in trouble, maybe you need to come take a ride down there. And if you think we picked up the trash, if you think a lot of trash was picked up, they didn't even get half of it yet. And none of the houses are starting to, every now and then they got one going down. So wait when that starts. And you know what, Archie, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not blaming you or nobody, but the roofers that are doing these shingles are throwing the roofers, the piles on the side of the highway. I got a section by Grand Isle Shipyard heading north, almost to the Pelican, which is about, I don't know the length, maybe a couple of miles. There's a pile every 50 feet. You know why it's being thrown there? Because they don't want to pay at the landfill the $150 or $200 that they're probably charging the customer. So they know they're going at night, dumping it on the side of the highway. I'm serious. I got a pile at the hospital street from Lady to Sea to the 32, dumped in the middle. Now, I know the cops can't catch everybody, but they should be able to catch somebody. And how do you stop it? I have no idea. But that's the state. So what happens if the state decides to say, hey, I'm not picking that up? What are we going to do, man? And it's not just in my area, it's all over. You could see it if you go ride and see. Every time I get in my car and ride, there's a new pile somewhere. My wife even told me that the other day. She says, every time I go ride with you, somebody else is breaking the house or this or that. So I just want to let you guys know that it's bad. It's bad. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ms. Lorraine. Ms. Chesson? Mr. Araby? Mr. Melvin, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. Real quick, I'm just reporting again, Percy Brown, when you take a left on Percy Brown behind Nichols, or if you're coming from Highway 1, you're around a curve, you're passing the origins of the St. Louis Canal, but head in the opposite direction, so away from Canal. It's really, remember how I used to bottom out right after taking a right off of Audubon? Coming back, it's bad. Somebody's going to roll and go in the St. Louis Canal, okay? Because the road is very steep right there. I'm just doing my due diligence. I know it's a state, but they need to do something, okay? Also, debris pickup, just reiterate. So on Highway 1, I'm noticing between Thibodeau and Raceland, mainly North Raceland to Raceland, there's a ton of debris that is originated newly at the road because I'm assuming people are rebuilding and they're moving more stuff, they're tearing down. It looks like a whole bunch of new stuff that made it to the road because it wasn't there last time I rode by. And it's on the road. So that is a state highway, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you want to elaborate on what's going on with the state to pick that up or anything?
So the only thing I know about what the state's doing is they're doing the same thing we're doing, right? They have trucks and monitors out running. I know Representative Fontenot, a couple of weeks ago, had sent an email to DOTD asking for an update of where they are with pickup, how many trucks they had running in Lafourche. And I think they were somewhere around 60 trucks. Now, I don't know how they have them spread out. I think I told this to Bo earlier, I think I sent it out already, but I'll find it and send it again. There was a link to a GIS portal that we had sent, so you could see, kind of like the one we have, how much they've picked up along state routes.
And I get it, it's stuff all over, it's nice to see what they picked up, it's just, there's a whole new fresh load of goodies, and, also, streetlights, I'm just putting the word in for streetlights, I'm getting calls for streetlights, and granted, I know some areas are devastated, worse than others, I'm just reporting it.
And look, guys, post-storm, I wish I had a magic wand and I could fix it all, right? And Daniel, it is bad down there. You guys took the brunt of a Category 5 hurricane. There is no mechanism for us as parish government, and when I say us, I mean me and all of you guys as well, serving your constituents, to fix this stuff overnight. You know, when it comes to streetlights, right? Gazette's busted his butt the first 2 months, working on sewer stations and getting generators running and picking stuff up, and now we're able to focus on, ordering parts for these streetlights, having our contractors do assessments. There's, I don't know, probably 3,000 streetlights across the parish, right? Just in the hardest hit area. That's not counting what's up in Mike and T-Boo and Jerry's district. So it's gonna be a hot minute, and I know I keep saying that. I keep asking people to be patient. But look, when you look at all the other storms, when you look a year and a half out at Cameron and Calcasieu dealing with what they're still dealing with, we're way the hell ahead of where they were 60, 70 days out, right? I know it's still hard down the bayou. I know we don't have a hospital, and we talked to Karen a lot about ways to fix that. Karen and her staff have busted their butts to try to have some semblance of health care going down there. Me asking people to be patient when you're sleeping in your car or sleeping in a moldy house is not the easiest thing, and I get it. It's hard. I really do. Especially when and everybody said, well, you get to go home to a dry house that has air conditioning. Yeah, I do, and I'm sorry. I get it. But it's gonna take us a minute to put it all back together, Daniel. And I know you don't mean it, but when it comes across as, you're playing the pity card about you've been forgotten, we haven't. We've done everything we can to try to get housing down there for people, to try to get streetlights back up, to get sewer and water and power back up. Eddie's working his tail off from Vision to try to get internet back up. Just sucks. And I wish I had a magic wand to fix it, but I don't.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Grew.
I was told, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago at a meeting, well, maybe a couple meetings ago. I was told February on lights. But, and I think it goes without saying. Look, and the lady that most recent lady I had to tell that to, had gotten some gas stolen, and they have other lights. It was just one on the poles. But if there's some dark areas down the bayou, we need to light up every other light or every fifth light, for sure, and get more police, if not, patrolling. My question is about garbage pickup, and not with O'Brien, mainly River Birch. And I'll be forever indebted to them. They bailed out this council in the last council, I feel, with the contract that came. We were faced with some really tough decisions when we hired River Birch, and I feel like they've done an excellent job. Once people got used to that, you need to have it in their actual deal. I didn't bring it up on item 15 because it wouldn't have changed the way I vote, but what additional services are they providing? Or is it just, hey, it weighs too much?
Yeah, so if you guys remember, change order number 1 with River Birch, that was, I guess, 2 meetings ago, was the dumpsters that we brought in post-storm, especially in South Lafourche, for people who couldn't get to their streets. We put out 7 locations that people could bring garbage to try to help people get rid of that garbage. There's a section in their contract that talks about during an act of God, they have the ability to bill us for the extra tonnage. So you think about everybody in the parish who lost power for 3 or 4 weeks, we had to clean out our refrigerators, right? All of that, that didn't go to the debris pile that ERC's picking up. That went into your black bags that went into your garbage can. So what they did was, when they run their tickets every day, right? They know how much tonnage we bring to the landfill. So they looked at last September and this September and went, yeah, we went from 4,000 tons to 6,000 tons. And that's what they billed us for. I think I put this in the agenda summary I sent out. I think by December, you start to see that number wean off. It's gonna happen again in October where that tonnage is gonna be over. It'll probably happen again in November. But as people are, that first push was really food and household stuff people threw away. The bulk of the tonnage went to the C&D debris, the sheetrock you ripped out, the insulation, that sort of stuff. So,
Yeah, people are putting stuff in there. I mean, they putting anything in there.
Yeah.
But, so you feel it'll sunset maybe around December?
I think
Hopefully.
I think the December, probably the January bill, we'll probably get back to normal. It always goes up. It goes up a little bit around the holidays because of people are throwing gift boxes and stuff. It goes up a little bit. It's not that much that they actually bill us for it. But I think you combine that with the hurricane stuff, we'll probably get back to normal in January.
And they, I mean, they're good for them that they had a, force majeure or whatever deal
Yeah.
in their contract. Usually it really, I mean, it should be in there.
And we haggled with them for a while.
I believe you, but do we have some kind of cause to, do we get that in our insurance? Do we make a claim on that additional expense that we weren't expecting to recoup that?
Yeah, so we sat down with them for about an hour and a half and came up with this really convoluted formula to get it into a tonnage format per can, per house, so that we can ask FEMA for reimbursement.
So we feel that we're gonna have something presentable to FEMA to recoup
Yeah.
any
So I think
overages that we
that-
didn't budget for.
Yeah, no, so I think the September bill, it was like $250,000 was the change order. I would venture to guess October, November will probably be around the 175 to 200 mark, and then it'll wean off from there. And look, I will say while I'm talking about debris for half a second, I mean, we've tried to get the message out there that this is not the Wild West of debris, right? A vast majority of, we've had tree cutters go wild in this parish and just stack it by the road. We've had the guys with the shingles that are dumping it everywhere instead of hauling it off. If a homeowner or a resident is using a contractor to demolish a house, change their roof, cut some trees, just like any other day of the week, that contractor is responsible for hauling that stuff off, especially if the insurance is paying for it. They're paying a disposal fee in your insurance claim. The parish should not, and in some cases we have, because I haven't really wanted to deal with the fight, but at some point we're going to say, we're not picking up this stuff. If you had a contractor come do it, the contractor's responsible for hauling it off, not us. So we have to be careful about, when you talk about houses going to the road, every now and then one pops off, right? If a homeowner paid a contractor to do that, it gets a little different if they're uninsured, but if they're insured, in theory, the contractor should be hauling that stuff off, not putting it at the side of the road for the parish to be on the hook for.
One last thing, a couple of us, I know, three of us right here on that redistricting committee. We meet here tomorrow for the school board and council redistrict. So I don't know if you guys all had a chance to look at that. You might want to get with us if there's anything we come into the 12th hour on that. If there's anything you want changed, T-Boo, you still gonna have the Zalmans all the way to St. John's. But if there's anything that you see, Jones, where we butt up against each other and all, please get with me, because it's getting close. I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Mr. Wendell?
Yes, as I brought up last meeting, DA Christine Russell from Lafourche Parish and DA Joe Waits from Terrebonne Parish are going to be in Pointe-aux-Chenes tomorrow to feed the folks out there that are still working on properties for Pointe-aux-Chenes, Montague, the Berg area. So I believe it's from 11 to 1. I apologize. I left my phone in the car with the flyer on it. But I'll be out there as well. So if you're in those areas and you're working hard, those guys and gals from those teams are going to be out there and give you a meal. And that's it.
Mr. Adams? Mr. Jones?
Yes, quick announcement, for the resident of Lafourche Parish. Community Action will be, purchasing some heaters and blankets for people that need it or living in tents or mobile homes. They can contact Miss Amanda Mattis at 537-7603.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that announcement. Mr. President?
All right, let me just quick, because we've talked a lot tonight. Coroner's office update, Mitch and I met with the coroner's office staff today. I got you. You didn't even have to ask, Terry. I'm gonna preempt you. We met with them today. We're gonna temporarily relocate them into the Raceland field office.
As a bishop?
Yeah. The last thing they have to work out is Jamie's working with a couple of funeral homes in Terrebonne to figure out where we're gonna move the autopsies to in the meantime. We're gonna try to put together a meeting next week with the architect who's already working on the the expansion project or the new side of the building, to figure out if it's worth it structurally to keep the current building or whether we bulldoze it and just build everything brand new, post-Ida. Big picture, big shout out. I know Terry was there yesterday. The reason our partner is sitting up here today is, yesterday we dedicated the new Grand Bahia floodgate, in the memory of State Rep Reggie Bagala. It was great to see Marissa and the family there. As we did that picture we had up there was of him, and I joked that he always used to sit between the parish president and Jerry during the last administration, so we brought him back for one more night. And when you leave here, if you're bored and you don't have anything better to do, go to Beck's. Their duck calling contest is tonight, for Fire District 1. I'll be heading there to do a judge for them. Not that I know anything about duck calling, but we'll see what we do after the meeting. So if you're bored, head to Beck's.
Thank you for that
Can I have
announcement.
one question?
Go ahead,
before we
Mr.
leave
Lynn.
For Mr. President. We turned in a lot of garbage cans that got lost in the storm to River Birch, and I was curious, who fits that bill
We actually signed an $8,700 invoice for that today.
today?
So if you lost
How
one,
many cans? Do we have a count of how many cans? Because I lost count.
yeah. So that's the second one. Dylan's telling me we signed one for. If you figure about $100 a pop, you can multiply it out. So if you lost it during the storm, we picked up the tab for that. They're bringing it back. But if you still need a second can, then you still have to purchase that through River Birch itself.
Okay, thank you, just curious.
Yeah, thank you. They
Can
were
I
pretty quick
piggyback a
about.
question on that?
Go ahead, Jim.
I got two
Last
calls
one.
this week that, residents lost a can for the storm and said that they called because they saw some being delivered and they were told, that someone passed and evaluated their property and they had a can and they weren't eligible for one, that they were trying to get a second can. Is there an appeals process? If
Yeah,
you're,
they can, if they called River Birch and they told them that, they can call. We've ran into a couple of situations where people had like duplexes or they had two cans already. We just have to go back and make sure they had two cans and then we'll replace the second one if that's the case.
okay.
They can call solid waste and
I
talk
think
to
this
them.
is an initial can.
Yeah.
So solid waste
Yeah,
is,
I'm talking to Felicia or Bob.
all right.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. All right, last thing I'll just mention on the coroner's office. I did talk to the coroner last night, and I respectfully request that y'all doze that place. Please, please, please doze it. That place has got to go. I mean, that is a blemish on this parish, and I think it's time to move forward from that. I'll reiterate, thank Mr. Grove for recognizing veterans, all past, present veterans. Veterans Day is in a couple of days. Please thank a veteran. Thank you for your service. It's certainly appreciated. Good luck to all the hunters. I know hunting season kicks off big, hard, and heavy this upcoming Saturday. Please be safe out there. You're going to see a lot of boats headed to the water and on the water come Saturday morning. I want to send out a belated happy birthday to Councilman Jones, who recognized his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Jones. And last thing I have to say is simplify to all my brothers out there in the Marine Corps as we celebrate the 246th birthday of the Marine Corps. Tomorrow, November 10th, birthday, the Marine Corps was born on November 10th, 1775. So simplify. With that said, I'm entertaining a motion to adjourn this meeting, regular Lafourche Parish Council meeting of November 9th, 2021 at 1912 hours. So moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Councilman Melvin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you.